All right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as your money, and we know that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you so much for having me in today.
Yeah, man, it's always exciting every time we switch things up and have different team members in doing topics and stuff. So today's topic, I think, should be more of a burst session. I think it's a good topic to understand because when it comes to taxes, people really don't understand how their dollars get taxed, right?
Yeah.
Right? They think what? They think, oh, I'm in the 20% tax bracket.
I'm paying 20% in taxes.
Yeah, they think I'm paying 20% on every dollar.
Yep.
Right? And sometimes you hear a word is what's your effective tax bracket? Like, what are you actually paying? So some of your dollars may land in, say, the 22% bracket, but your effective tax bracket may be 15.
Yep.
16, right? Depends on how much money you make. So
Correct.
I think if we do a visual of how brackets work and then maybe give some recommendations on what to do when they get to that last bracket.
Okay.
Right? So let's think about it. When money comes in, it fills up brackets. I got some props here today, so it's not like that I like this many M&Ms on a day. Right? I'll be at the dentist all the time.
Sugar rush, yeah.
Yeah, sugar rush, right? If I was having this thing. But I brought these props in just as a visual to our viewers on YouTube, right? Obviously, if you're on Spotify and Google Play, I've got 3 cups set up, right? So let's say this is a 10% bracket, this is 22, and this is 24% bracket, right? The M&Ms really represent what? Your income coming in.
Correct.
Right. So if somebody says, usually when somebody says I'm in the 24% bracket, they're referring to this one down here.
Correct.
But when your income comes in, it's kind of like a waterfall, right? So the first bracket that comes up, and I'll try not to spill these all over the table, but the first bracket that comes up is the 10%, right? So that amount of your income is going to get taxed at what?
10%.
10%.
Yep.
The next M&M or next dollar, so to speak, then progressively, right? That's where that word comes from, overflows
Correct.
into the 20% or 22% bracket, right? So, well, obviously there's 15, there's other brackets in there.
Yeah.
But for illustrative purposes, now I have more income coming in. So all this money is getting taxed at what?
The 10%.
All this money is getting taxed at what?
The 22.
Right? Now, this next bracket, you'll notice I purposely did that cup a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. Right?
And it's clear.
It's clear, right? to illustrate a point. But your brackets change in size, right? And that's important to understand because most people will come in, their income will go into the first bracket, it'll go into the second or third, and then they'll get down to this one here. And they'll have that much income come in and touch it. Mm-hmm. And that's their whole income for the year, right? So what do we notice? First bucket's completely full. Second bucket's completely full. Well, this 24% bucket is a quarter full. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not paying 24% on all your money, right?
Correct.
Right? You're paying 10, 22, 24 on some of it. Yep. So your effective bracket is lower.
Correct.
But where people miss out is what's the opportunity with that bucket, Justin?
The opportunity is that it's not all the way filled yet.
Yeah, right? So that back bracket's pretty large.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that income is pretty consistent for most households.
Yep.
So we know you may never go back down a bracket.
Correct.
Even when you retire, the government can come and wave their magic wand and change these brackets.
Yep.
They can make this one smaller. They can do away with this one all of a sudden. And they can make this one higher.
Yeah.
They can go to 30% with that one. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we know what our current brackets are, and we know that eventually brackets may go up, right? The government's in a lot of debt.
Correct.
Right? And the only sources of income that I can think of is usually taxes.
Yep.
That's right.
Exactly.
What planning concepts can we do with that, right? This is money that we know is going to get taxed at 24%, say. Yeah. Right? Well, if we know this is going to get taxed at 24% and later down the road this bracket might be 28, what do we do?
Take advantage of unique strategies like potentially Roth conversions.
Yeah, right. So here's a planning opportunity that a lot of clients have not even thought about until they sit down with us. Mm-hmm. So a lot of our listeners, people that aren't clients or prospects that are tuning in, this is where an advisor comes in handy, is being able to have a strategy that utilizes the rest of this pot. Because what? Because I can bring more income in or money in until this is about ready to overflow and know I'm going to pay 24%. Yep. As opposed to my beneficiary down the road or as opposed to me later in retirement when I have tax brackets change on me and I have more income coming in. So this concept of progressive taxes, it's not cut and dry. It's not like every dollar is getting charged that.
Yep.
There's a missed opportunity usually in that last bucket for most clients.
Yep.
So, clients need to understand it overflows to the next bucket, but if you're not filling up that last bucket, you may want to chat with your advisor. If you don't have an advisor, call us. We'll be able to, walk through these concepts.
Yep.
But you're going to want to chat with your advisor and see, does it make sense to take advantage of this last bucket?
Yeah.
Maybe there's 30 grand in there and you're retired, and there's 30 grand extra in that bucket that you can use as a Roth conversion.
Yep.
Or there's 30 grand extra you can take out and do a gifting strategy to grandkids. Or, a ton of different possibilities there, right? So keep that in mind. Progressive taxes, sometimes they're hard to understand, but sometimes they're in our advantage because we can plan ahead for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything else you want to add on progressive taxes?
No, I just think, if you're wondering about what the progressive tax brackets look like, obviously you can go to the IRS website and see exactly where your money is going and how much of each dollar is getting charged. Yep. What percentage, but like you were saying, it's unique opportunities to take advantage of potentially that last bucket before the government potentially changes the tax brackets.
Yeah, and Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever search engine you're going to use, just type in 2024 IRS tax brackets.
Yep.
You can usually pull up single. You want to make sure you're looking at either single or filed. Right, you make sure you're looking at the right bracket, but that'll show you actually how wide they are, and they're set to sunset with this tax legislation, and most of those brackets will shrink. They'll become smaller. It'll become easier to transition to the next, and most of them will go up a couple percent.
Yep.
So if we know we're going to be paying more and it's going to be harder to stay in a lower bucket, you may want to take advantage of some of this tax planning ahead of time through some of the strategies we discussed today.
Absolutely.
So, hopefully you get a little bit of information that you can refer on to other people. Please, if you need information from us, you want to set up a time for a consultation, a phone call, a Zoom meeting, or even an in-person, depending on where you're at. We're more than happy to sit down with you. You can reach the SC Group at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, New York, 12110. You can reach us at 844-444-YTYM for Your Time, Your Money. And as always, we're at yourtimeyourmoney.net for your net worth. And as always, it's your time,
Your money.